I don't know if I got enough sleep last night.
Yes, that's why we're here. So we make sure that we get enough sleep and that we have better sleep, because it seems all of us are suffering from that, not getting enough good sleep. So that's why we have this great session today to teach us how to get more sleep. Welcome, everybody. But before we do all our pleasantries, let's do the correct thing and ask Miss Marcy Tulloch to pray for us.
Hallelujah. Father God, we thank you for today. And we come before you right now in gratitude for sparing our lives to see another day, and for the wonderful, beautiful, clean air that we breathe. We invite your presence in our midst, God, and we welcome you to this webinar. Lord, I pray over the presenters and the attendees, Lord God, that, Lord, their knowledge, wisdom, and clarity of thought will increase, that your name will be glorified throughout the seminar, that there will be no chaos or confusion, but a smooth transition and a perfect and excellent symposium, that everything that is done today will be a blessing to all who are in attendance and will be indelible in the minds of those who are here. Lord Jesus, bless the sponsors and multiply their wealth for their support. I pronounce healing for those who might be experiencing this illness and any other illness, oh God. I decree and declare an abundance of blessings and favor of God in all lives that are online at this moment. Jesus, you are worthy of all praise, and I ask you to take full control of this webinar. And I give you, Lord God, all the honor and the glory, because you are all-powerful, almighty, awesome, omnipresent. Yeshua Messiah, I thank you in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen.
Amen.
You can go ahead. I'm through.
Lisa?
Oh, sorry. I was muted.
I think before you go on, Dr. Lisa, let me tell everybody I'm Magdalena Cooper, the news. You see my name coming up. But I just thought before you start that we need to wish all mothers who are suffering, who are not suffering, but who are celebrating Mother's Day from the UK.
The UK.
Yes.
I was getting to it.
Okay.
Yes, we definitely have to celebrate our mothers. But I didn't realize I was muted, but what I was saying was I wanted to welcome everybody, the public, to our meeting, our panelists, our speakers, our sponsors, because we need all of you to have our program. And today we're going to actually get more education to have better sleep, because I'm definitely one of them that could definitely need improvement on that. There's an old saying that a good laugh and a long sleep can solve all our problems, makes everything look better. All right, we have some housekeeping issues. Please stay muted until we have said that you can talk. And please keep your mics muted because we don't want all the background. Thanks, everybody. And now we're gonna have Dr. William Brown, who is the president of our organization and helps keep it going. And he's going to welcome everybody. Thanks again, William. He's going to give a welcome and greetings from JMHS.
Thank you very much, Lisa, our first vice president. Thank you very much. On behalf of the JMHS executive and the entire membership, I'd like to bring greetings this afternoon and to welcome all of you to this webinar. It's our first webinar for this year, and entitled, Are You Sleeping to Die or Dying to Sleep? We hope at the end of this symposium, you have learned a lot. and apply it to your life so that you can have better sleep as part of your improvement of your health status. Now, the JMHS, the Jamaica Midlife Health Society, has shown significant growth in its mandate to educate men and women at midlife and beyond. That our membership is increasing in quality and quantity in terms of composition is a sign that we are doing something worthwhile to society and to ourselves. So in spite of the pandemic, we have resisted the tendency to be dormant as we progress forward. We are gaining social traction, and our legacy and memories are being left behind in a lot of persons who are interested in uplifting the society. This evening, I welcome all the participants in this meeting. We are welcoming our founder, Dr. Venice Bernard Wright, our patron, the Honorable Marigold Harding. We welcome Dr. Faye Whitburn Morrison, who is one of the founding members. We welcome the MHA President, Dr. Brian James. We welcome the CCRP, Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, Executive Chairman, Mrs. Jean Lowry Chin, and other members of the CCRP family who are in attendance. We welcome our presenters, our three presenters, our moderators, our sponsors who we can't leave behind. Without them, we would have had this webinar together. Our hardworking members of the executive, oh man, we met almost every week, especially towards the end. We welcome Samuel Heron, Allgate Solutions Limited, for his capable management of the webinar. We welcome CVM TV for airtime on the program, CVM Sunrise and Jamaica Observer, who publish our ad in the newspaper. And least but not the last, we welcome all our attendees, our friends, participants, attendees, and our members. We hope you enjoy this time together. It's going to be a bit long, but it's going to be worthwhile. Thank you, and you're all welcome. Thank you.
We now
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Dr. Brown. Right now, Sam, can you actually share our JMSH videotape? Sorry, I keep forgetting to unmute because I'm trying to not get any background. However, thanks again, Sam. We appreciate that. As you can see, JMHS has been very busy, very active over the years, and we're trying to educate us, and I include myself in it, all of us. Next, we're going to have Dr. Brian James, who is going to give us the greetings from MHA. Dr. James, up to you.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you very much, Dr. Kervin Dawes, Mr. Executive President, Madam Moderator, presenters, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you pleasant and warm greetings on behalf of the executive and members of the Medical Association of Jamaica. We're very pleased to be associated with today's webinar being hosted by the Jamaica Midlife Health Society. The JMHS has been and remains an important cog in the MHA wheel since its inception in 2007. It holds this central position for three main reasons. The first one is that JHMA membership structure makes it best placed among all of our member associations to embody the theme of engagement that the current executive has adopted as its mantra. We're keen to engage all healthcare stakeholders, and clearly that would involve all living human beings in Jamaica, whether the colleagues, the public, the policymakers. We want to engage all of them in our mission to enhance the overall health of the nation. The second reason is that a cohort of citizens who are the focus of the JMHS does include a large proportion of doctors. And so this represents an important vehicle of self-care among our members. Thirdly, the organization is particularly active in events such as these and activities aimed at education and empowerment. So the work of the JMHS to support, educate, prepare, and manage is a special calling and has the endorsement, the full-throated endorsement of the MHA. This webinar, Are You Sleeping to Die or Dying to Sleep?, explores a very important topic. Insomnia is a very common sleep disorder that may become severe enough to disrupt daily functionality. The three talks for this afternoon are well chosen to explore the problem from different angles, causes, consequences, and correction. I am confident that this will be a very enlightening afternoon and that significant learning will take place and sleep loss will be reduced. The MHA wishes for, as well as anticipates, a great afternoon of knowledge sharing and expansion as the Jamaica Midlife Health Society stages yet another important webinar in its mission of commitment to an important part of the Jamaican society. I thank you very much.
Thanks again, Dr. James. He is the president of the MHA. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate your time and your comments. Our next is we would like to have greetings from the Caribbean community of the retired, and that's from Mrs. Jean Laurie Chin. She's the executive chairman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Moderators, Dr. Lisa Kervin-Dawes, VP of the JMHS, and Magdalena Cooper, the nurse, PR officer, your patron, Honorable Marigold Harding, other distinguished members of your executive, Dr. William Brown, Executive President, Jamaica Midlife Health Society, Dr. Brian James, President-elect, MAJ Medical Association of Jamaica, distinguished presenters, sponsors, fellow CCRP members, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to bring greetings at this important webinar, as we have heard increasing complaints about insomnia since the start of the COVID pandemic. We at CCRP are particularly concerned about the seniors, many of whom suffered isolation and anxiety during this time. We're learning that the lack of quality sleep can cause various health disorders, and we must address them urgently. And so we congratulate the Jamaica Midlife Health Society for organizing this important webinar, which will raise awareness on the importance of sleep, thus assisting us to use your methods and guidance to protect and preserve our health. We applaud the presenters and the generous sponsors who are spending their Sunday afternoon to promote greater health for their fellow Jamaicans. Our motto at CCRP is life to the fullest. And so your webinar will assist our members and others to achieve this goal. This will be a most beneficial webinar. Thank you so much, and here's to an enjoyable and enlightening afternoon. We're not hearing Dr. Kervin Dawes. I think you're still on mute.
Oh, I'm still on mute. I'm sorry. So thank you very much. And thanks again for being one of our participants. We really appreciate the support. I actually am one of those people that sometimes have trouble with sleep. And, you know, you say to your brain, okay, come, we're going to go to sleep and I'm going to have a good sleep tonight. And your brain says, no, I think we need to stay up and think about all the bad decisions you've made over the last few weeks. And so you're up for a while. So we have to figure out how to do that. Our next part of the program is our pre-test on how we actually, how much we actually know about sleep. I think we're having trouble. I think Sam is actually going to resend the link. I think I saw someone in the chat saying that they wanted the link. People in the audience are saying that the link isn't working. Sam, are we going to work on that? I just got another text, a chat in it that the link isn't working. In the meantime, while Sam is working on the link, then I'm going to turn over to Mrs. Magdalena Cooper, the news. She is our PR person, but what you don't know, she's an excellent pension and life insurance advisor to everyone and does it very well. So Magdalena, I'm going to turn it over to you while they work out the link. I will get back to you guys, or Magdalena will get back to you guys, and when the link is working properly. Please check, please say in the chat if you're still having issues with the link. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Talking about,
yes.
Just to, apologies, what link? Is it the pre-test link?
The pre-test link.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
We have a number of people texting that they can't get on.
Okay.
Both to my
all right.
regular phone and on the chat.
No problem.
Okay, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Ganash Shetty. You know, when I read his profile, I said, you know, I need to go see this guy on my own and make an appointment to see him because his profile is just so interesting. Dr. Ganash Shetty, a naturalized Jamaican, is the only child and adolescent psychiatrist employed by the KSC Health Department and has worked at various child guidance clinics in the region's schools and communities. He's also the consultant psychiatrist at the Medical Center of the University of Technology. His work with children and adolescents' mental health issues saw him playing a crucial role in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education with support from UNICEF to sustain and expand the child and adolescent telemental health services in all child guidance clinics in Jamaica. Dr. Shetty's professional and academic qualifications include a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery degree, Diploma in Psychiatry, Master of Public Health, Clinical Fellowship in Child and Youth Psychiatry. He has conducted selected research, published and co-published across various child mental health issues. These include reducing adverse outcomes in adulthood, taking care of our children, helping students to cope with post-traumatic stress symptoms. Adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse was presented at the Jamaica Psychiatric Association annual conference in 2007. To start out this afternoon's lectures and discussions on sleep issues, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, even if there are children who are around, which would be great, let us warmly welcome Dr. Shetty to share with us the common causes of sleep disorder. Over to you, Dr. Shetty.
Good afternoon, and thanks for the kind introduction, and special greetings to all my colleagues in midlife and younger at heart elders. I want to disqualify, it is not a lecture, it is just sharing my experience through pandemic and my view of my future going forward. And I hope with petrol prices rising, things getting very costly, I don't land up going to work on a bicycle with this kind of protective gear. I hope the war ends in Ukraine and we can go back to normalcy once the pandemic also ends. We all know that COVID came with a lot of stress with it, about our own health, our health of loved ones. That could have changed eating and sleeping patterns. And if you already have some pre-existing health conditions, could have made it worse, as well as mental health conditions gotten exacerbated. People who are using substances started comforting themselves with using more of that. And this was how it emerged with the emergence of infection. Got anxious, some of them got blamed for contracting and spreading, some of them got discriminated against. And health workers were not spared because they had to work long hours without much break. And some of them were infected and had to be quarantined, isolation. And it might have affected how they work, how they interact with their clients. And we know that, generally speaking, it can affect your concentration, make you irritable, restless, lonely because locked up in the house. And particularly for young people, their social life has been decimated. And I've seen a lot of kids and adolescents coming down with anxiety and depression. Those who are well adjusted and doing well. Just, it shows how important it is to be face-to-face, and thank God it is coming back, the face-to-face classes. And we know that it can make all disorders listed in the DSM worse if you do have them, but particularly depressive disorders and anxiety disorders of all kinds got worse. And some of us lost loved ones, friends, and family members. And if it was a traumatic death right in front of us, or we heard about it, sometimes it could even develop a stress reaction, which could be acute stress disorder. And sometimes you've already been traumatized before, it can bring back your post-traumatic stress symptoms. And also it gave me some time, especially initially when everything was closed down, to look at systemic issues, higher connections, which influence everything. And I started looking at how we humans have been disconnected by race, separated by religion, divided by politics, and classified by wealth, and how monetary, military, missionary, materialist system is influencing everything, include what happened in Wuhan, because if those folks who were selling rat, bat, and cat did not get money for it, they would not sell it and COVID virus will not jump to human beings, as well as if the Don in Auguston doesn't get money to buy his gun, he will not buy it and not give it to his cronies who will, kill off each other, and innocent people get caught in between. So we had COVID pandemic, which was superimposed on crime endemic, which is crime and violence endemic. And when I dig deeper, I see there are 4 aspects or factors which fuel a lot of dysfunction in the society. Poor parenting skills, neglect, abuse included, poor psychosocial support, single mothers with 5 children with 5 men who don't mind them, adverse childhood experiences in the home, in the school, in the community, and unidentified and untreated mental disorders, which can run up to 90% of those who have disorders may not be identified and treated. And this fuels all kind of problems in the society as it was: crime, violence, drug use, teenage pregnancy, and such. As well as we know now, adverse childhood experience increase your risk for diabetes, cancer, heart disease, severe mental disorders, and substance use in adulthood. That means it has a long shadow over our life, and we have to do everything to reduce the occurrences of those adverse childhood experiences for our new generation. And with COVID-19 pandemic, many people losing jobs, losing income, having COVID, suffering the morbidity and mortality, could also increase some other problems, which will only make the situation worse. So it also gave me a chance to look at connection between different systems in which we are embedded, whether it is family, school, and community. And it struck me that we have a lot of factors fueling hopelessness in the society, which can keep us up in the night. Education system, which tells a lie that you're only as good as your grades. So if you don't get good grades in school, particularly in PEP and CXC and sixth form, you can't sleep. You're told if you don't get good grades, you don't go to college and not have good education, and you beg on the street side. So another lie, future is only as bright as your grades. And long, boring online classes only made many, and heavy homework load how many people just resort to ways to entertain themselves, which is WhatsApp, YouTube, and such. And I looked at how the current education system kills creativity and is preparing us for the past, not for the future. And we have a social system which entices us to get addicted, whether social media, video games in young people now, or drug and alcohols. And also, we don't teach our children how our life experiences and our attachment styles influence how we choose and interact and respond in a situation, including our intimate relationships. And that's why we have so many unwanted children with incompetent parents around. And also it struck me how monetary system influence youth as if everything is for sale and commodifies everything, including relationships. So I was wishing one of my relative who is 15 this year and told him, I hope you live up to 100. And he said, no, I don't want to, because I don't have a sister like yours who is taking care of your mother at 86. So in other words, he showed this belief in his own children that they will look after him when he's really, really old and can't help himself. Because chances are they might even migrate to Canada, England, and US and visit during Christmas if till you're alive, and maybe they'll come back when there's some dead left money. And it also struck me how we live in a military system. Jamaica Defense Force has a military, the Don has a military, and they are in eternal fight and innocent people caught up in it. And also it struck me how we are made to feel that what you possess is more important than who you are And what you drive is more important than what drives you. What is on you is more important than what is in you. And I got to tell you the truth, guys. I had to tell you the truth. And although I love Jesus and I believe in God, but I don't understand a lot of stuff. And I don't think I can answer if my granddaughter comes and asks me, Granddad, tell me, God, this Superman in the sky who watches everything all the time, has these 10 things you're not supposed to do. And if you do any one of them, he has a special place called hell where you're going to burn and scream and cry forever and ever. But you always tell that God loves you. I can't answer that. And of course, the media has not done any favor to us. It just sensationalizes everything and frightens us. And I have folks who have become paranoid watching too much CNN. So I ask myself, how am I coping so far? Not so good. So I had to ask myself, am I midlife ready? What is my role? How I can keep my expectations realistic and take the pressure off? How I can reduce my working hours, which is coming in the way of connecting with my people, my family. And also I looked at deeper issues, what my role in life has affected me, as well as how it has changed things around me. And also I thought about what's happening in my work life. And I even took some questionnaires which are free online and see if I am having any kind of compassion fatigue or burnout. And I did lose a couple of folks who are dear to me. And I went through different feelings which are associated with loss. And I started wondering why some people may wish they don't wake up in the morning. Are they experiencing extreme stagnation and despair in their midlife? Are they living in extreme difficult circumstances like extreme poverty? Are they feeling trapped by ongoing trauma like domestic and community-based violence like some folks in the inner city? Are they suffering from depression and other mental disorders which have been exacerbated by pandemic? And I also thought about persons who are dying to sleep, who are sleep deprived. Are they enjoying too much social media in the night? Are they escaping into their sleep? Are they sleeping, eating, and exercising on time or not? Or are they suffering from insomnia? And I had to mention how the media plays a part in keeping up in the night and make you dying to sleep next day. And just to give an example, one, he could be called elder by the current definition, as in his late 60s, and he came and told Doc, you have to save my marriage. I said, what happened? My wife is addicted to Facebook. And if she was watching porn, I could share that with her, but she's looking at all these religious sites and keeps the light up and I can't sleep. And it's coming in the way of our relationships. And it's also an issue whether you're unfriended on Facebook. Has Twitter made you bitter? Has a picture of you been photoshopped and circulated on internet? Can keep you up. And those reminders on your phone, which could tell you who is sending you a message at what time, usually nighttime, can keep you up. And looked at signs of burnout. Am I being irritable? Am I blaming everything else on everybody else? Am I feeling disconnected? Am I taking care of myself? Am I feeling like a failure? Do I feel so helpless because the problems faced by some of the young people I see are so complex? They're rooted in the family, community, and school, which I can't change significantly. And that also kept me up some nights. So burnout and secondary traumatic stress, which happens when we are close to somebody who is experiencing it, can also keep us well. So I said, well, what I'm going to do now, I need to up my resiliency. And how I'm going to do that. Although I knew that there are a lot of health benefits by thinking positive, I thought I'm not giving enough time and energy to that. For that, I need to really feel that I'm worth it and I deserve it. And I started taking a little better care of my body and getting some relaxation in. And I had to make a deliberate choice to be positive, because some of the things which are happening, this anti-mask, anti-vaccine movement, in spite of we trying so hard to help people, was making me really pessimistic. I had to go back to my roots and evoke some of the principles I told myself long time ago that I will follow. And I had to get into my relaxation routine, and intermittently during my day after every case, I had to just kind of ground myself and relax myself. And I started doing my deep belly breathing and progressive muscle relaxation more regularly. Reaches were closed for a long time, but I made sure that I go there in my mind. And I started meditating, which is basically having a state of pure, persistent presence of mind. I don't chant anything. I don't focus anything particular. I just observe everything around myself. I describe what it is, and I continue to be there without judging myself, without judging the thoughts I'm getting about credit card, which is not paid, and light bill, which is too much, and it helped. And also I had to refocus where I got to go from here on. What is it which is number one in my life, and where my compass of life is headed? I had to dig out my mission statement, which I wrote 30 years ago, and put it on the wall in front of me. And things were so sad and disappointing sometimes. I had to find all kind of ways to entertain myself and laugh a little. And there's a lot of demand. We don't have many people who work with children and adolescents, particularly in this country. And I had to focus on what really is the impact of what I'm doing. I started having some dissatisfaction with telling myself end of the year that I saw 200 children for this year, 200 adolescents, and so on. And we know whenever you pursue threat, flight, fight, and freeze, all these things happen to your body. And it can keep you up in the night too. So I had to kind of tell myself, we are dealing with coronavirus, we're not living in the jungle, and no lion is chasing me, and I can challenge and stop negative thoughts. I can improve how I manage my emotions, and I had to do something deliberately which is pleasant, which is connecting me to others and avoiding me to go into my shell. And I had to check if I'm experiencing any twisted thinking which can affect me negatively and keep me up in the night. And there are two toxic feelings we have to be particularly mindful of. One is fear. It can help you save your life if you are in the jungle and lion is running after you, so you can climb a tree quickly and save yourself. But if your workplace turns into a jungle, or for a student, examination hall turns into a jungle, you freeze because you have nowhere to run, nothing to fight, and it is constant. So we get anxious, which is uncalled, uncomfortable, unhelpful fear. And also, we are not perfect, only God is perfect, and we naturally feel guilty when we don't do something up to our own expectations or others' expectation. And that, when entertained a lot, can make you get depressed. So fear and guilt can only help if you use that at the point of temptation to do something wrong, procrastination to do nothing, and distraction from what is important. And I had to use a lot of reframing. That's changed how I look at things. Same thing in a different way. So I had to tell myself, when I make a mess of something, I'm just human. And when I feel pessimistic and say, I can't do this, I have to encourage myself that I can do hard things. And when I make a mistake and say I'm a failure, I have to tell myself I'm learning. Instead of saying why this is happening, I started saying, what is this teaching me? And I had to adapt, see what is triggering some of these feelings, what kind of feelings they are, and what kind of thoughts and body sensations which accompany them, and how can I ask myself questions which can set me free when something is bothering me. For example, if I feel I cannot help this person, I have to ask myself, is it true? Maybe, but can I be absolutely sure I can never help in any way? No. How do I feel that when I think this thought, I can't help this guy? I don't feel good. I feel negative. And how do I feel if I don't have that thought? I'll be okay. So I had to tell myself there's no stress-free reason to hold on to this task and let it go. And I had to do a lot of positive self-talking too. So decision is not to just survive, but to thrive because of pandemic, not in spite of pandemic. So it's important to know you're not alone. Everybody's struggling. Life is a challenge, and we can make it in the end. Other thing is connection support. I had to call some of the friends I had not called, and I had to do some of the things I had not done for a long time. And I had to do a lot of self-validation when only my mistakes are highlighted and criticized, and my achievements are slighted and neglected. Right. So in conclusion, we can all sleep better if we are not spending money that we don't have on things we don't need. We are not afraid of a war breaking out between family members, gang members, communities, and nations, and we are not tormented by guilt and terrorized by fear of ongoing hell or going to hell. We are not preoccupied with materials like a nice phone, car, house that we don't have, which others have and we want to have. And gratitude can go a long way when you're trying to sleep. Saying thanks for the day and thanks for all the good things and good people God brought into your life. And if you're feeling afraid, you can go to Timothy, verse 1-7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. Thank you.
Say amen to that.
Amen.
Amen. I hope Dr. Lisa doesn't mind me coming in here.
Amen.
I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation, Dr. Shetty. I saw where you said something. We're going to get into the questions as well. I saw where you said something about financial slavery, I think you said. What exactly do you mean by that?
Okay, financial slavery. The inflation is built into the financial system. So we many times disregard our health and well-being and work so hard to save some money for old age. And as I mentioned, because we have moved from it takes a village to raise a child to me, myself, and not even my family kind of value system, we cannot depend on our children to take care of us when we're old. So we are mindful of those things, and we are mindful of raising medical costs every day. And we work hard and save the money, and we see it shrinking right in front of our eyes because of inflation. And we see prices going up because of it. So that has kept my 82-year-old mentor working even at this stage of his life. And he loves his work, but I don't think that's the only reason. It's the financial slavery which has been built in. And we have all these big countries giving all these loans and telling you what to do. And usually they encourage you to be financially prudent and cut your budget for education and health. So we have less educated and unhealthy people who can be oppressed.
Good point. Back to you, Dr. Lisa.
Actually, you were actually still moderating the session, but that's fine. Why don't we do for the questions and answers? Sam, do you want to read the first one or should I? I'll read the first one. It says, I have a friend who, even though he is tired, he gets about 5 or 10 minutes of sleep, woke up at 2 a.m. and can't go back to sleep. Is there anything we can do to help?
First of all, we need to find out why that is happening. It could be one of the common reasons I mentioned. It could be also that he could be depressed. So if he's not eating well or eating too much, not having low energy, not able to focus, feeling miserable all the time, and he feels hopeless, helpless, worthless, and he starts thinking about his life not being good and it's not worth living, then definitely he needs to see a doctor quickly and get assessed and get the treatment for major depressive disorder, which can kill you.
I am not seeing any more questions. I thought Magdalena was doing this part. Somebody just put in one. I have a friend who sleeps for 8 to 9 hours. However, the person still feels sleepy through the day. Any advice or that you can give or any suggestions?
I wonder if the quality of sleep is good, because you might sleep for 8 to 9 hours, but you might have sleep apnea. And
I was thinking the same thing.
Right, and it might be woken up several times doing that.
Do you want to explain to the audience what sleep apnea is? It's non-medical, part of it is non-medical.
It's basically you stop breathing when you're sleeping, and that affects oxygenation of your brain. So in spite of you being lying in the bed for that long, you're still tired. Or you might be even having atypical depression, where actually sleep is not reduced, it's increased, and the appetite is not reduced, it's increased. So you need to check that out also. But you need to also look at other aspects of your life, which is, are you balancing your work and rest? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you moving your body, which can also energize you apart from sleeping?
Right. There are many causes. He might have to talk to his doctor. Go ahead, Magdalena.
I see on the chat here where Dr. Susan Lowe is saying to you, Dr. Shetty, can Dr. Shetty please send me the CBT schematic, please, at hello at onlinecounselingjamaica.com. Yes.
Will do, and I can just drop my presentation in the chat. Anybody can have it. But
a very good presentation.
Excellent presentation.
Excellent.
One more, because we don't have much more time, but there's a question. What are the common causes of sleep disorders? They didn't really catch all of them. Can you just list them again?
Okay. Anxiety can keep you up in the night. Depression can keep you up in the night. I'm talking about mental health issues. Even other disorders like adjustment disorder can affect your sleep. Other pre-existing disorders can get exacerbated, and you might relapse with schizophrenia or bipolar and such more serious disorders. And some of the changes which have to be implemented in this time, whether it's a child being stuck at home with the parents who are policing him, or elderly with dementia getting confused because some changes had to take place in his environment. People are not visiting him as often because fear of bringing in COVID and infecting the elderly. So all those things can affect your sleep, apart from you having other physical issues, being overweight, having sleep apnea and such.
And that is why as you was making your presentation, it is so important, which you include in your presentation, to have a positive mind, and also to surround yourself with positive thinking people. because when you don't have that, it can really enhance your depression. I don't even want to make a comment on that before we wrap.
It is very important that you look at all aspects of your life. You look at your biology. That means do the basics, sleep well, eat well, exercise well. Easy said, not done easily. You look at how you deal with work. Are you adopting a deadline approach at work, which is like you feel as if you have been chased by 10 demons will cut off your head if you slow down, and if you don't reach the deadline, you'll be dead? Or are you applying an Olympic approach where you are an athlete who wants to go to Olympics and win gold, and you work hard towards it, but you know the end of the finish line, not deadline, is another race, and next day is another race. So your attitude to work and how you deal with folks at your workplace and family also can affect how you feel, generally speaking. And
so we need to change deadline to lifeline.
Deadline to finish line.
To finish line, okay.
Yes. So it's important to have connections, because we get so caught up with all the stuff we are doing. A lot of, when you think about, is mundane. So many emails which are not really important, so many WhatsApp messages which are not necessary. If we can use that to connect with real people in our family, in our surrounding, in our life, that could help a lot in terms of lifting your mood and helping you to sleep better in the night too.
Very
Thank
true.
you so much.
Thank you very much.
Listening to both of you, there is a saying that says you should avoiding certain people to protect your emotional health is not a weakness. It's actually wisdom.
That's
so choose your friends and who you associate with.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you cannot get rid of toxic people in your life. It happens to your boss and you need your job. You need to see how you can ignore his ignorance and don't get ignorant about it yourself.
True.
Well said. Thank you so much for your presentation. I didn't know I'd learned so much, which included money as well. I'm a money talker, so I'll talk with you again another time. Thank you so much on behalf of JMHS. I learned a lot.
Thank you very much. God bless. Take care.
And somebody just wanted to add in the chat, and other people are commenting, that writing things down that are stressing you out help to decrease your stress. And I think that's true. Keeping a journal, writing it down, and so you're not thinking about it all the time is actually very helpful. Magdalena, you want to take us into our next sponsors? Mag, okay.
Being unmuted now. Yes, no, I'm hearing you now. Let's look at our next sponsors, who without them, we wouldn't be able to have the program we have today. And we thank them very, very much indeed. And these are CariMed Group Limited, represented by Melissa. Melissa, I think I spoke her name, Pinnock Williams. Go right ahead.
Don't let pain get in the way of the things you love. Pain comes in all forms: dental, dysmenorrhea, headaches, musculoskeletal. So what do? Get back to being you with Cetadine, with acetaminophen and codeine, for fast, effective, affordable pain relief. It's aspirin-free and caffeine-free. Cetadine for severe pain and fever. Cetadine, distributed by CariMed Limited, for the people who love.
And our next yes, thank you.
doesn't stop for diabetes. Be ready for every moment with Glucerna. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand that's scientifically designed to help manage your blood sugar. Live every moment. Glucerna.
As a clinician, helping your patients make the right decisions is a daily task. Glucerna shakes provide nutrients to help your patients support their immune health. Replacing a usual breakfast and a snack with Glucerna Hunger Smart resulted in a 50% reduction in the positive blood glucose area under the curve after breakfast. Glucerna contains Carb Steady, which is a scientifically designed blend of slow-release carbohydrates which allow your patients to maintain more consistent, balanced blood sugar throughout the day. Because many of your patients make poor choices or they may miss breakfast and lunch altogether, Glucerna provides a better meal choice with more protein, key vitamins and minerals to support the immune system of your patients. Glucerna is available in all major supermarkets and pharmacies and is distributed by Caramel.
Take a powerful step in building new tissue with Juven. Juven is a refreshing therapeutic nutrition drink that has been clinically shown to support wound healing in as little as 2 weeks. Taking just 2 packets of Juven per day has been clinically shown to help your body repair after injury, surgery, and wounds. Juven is formulated with powerful ingredients: arginine, glutamine, beta-hydroxy-beta-methylbutyrate, HMB, collagen protein, and micronutrients. These ingredients work together to support building tissue. Arginine is an amino acid that helps promote blood flow in the body. Increased blood flow improves delivery of oxygen and nutrients, both vital for wound healing. Arginine also promotes building of proteins that can contribute new tissue to support healing. Glutamine, also an amino acid, plays a role in collagen production and supports the immune system. HMB helps protect proteins from breaking down in your body, which helps new tissue to build up. Collagen is a protein found naturally in bones, connective tissue, and skin. Ingestion of hydrolyzed collagen affects the skin and stimulates internal collagen production. Hydrolyzed collagen has been shown to increase the rate of wound healing. Antioxidants, vitamin C and E, vitamin B12, and zinc are micronutrients which have been shown to be important in the wound healing process. Taking just 2 packets of Juven per day has been clinically shown to support wound healing in as little as 2 weeks. For more information on nutrition and wound healing and Juven, visit juven.com today.
Wow, thank you, Abbott Industries, or Nutrition, I should say, for those ads. They are really informative. And I hope everyone who is looking on, or everyone who's in attendance, and we see we have over 206 people in attendance today. But I'd like to welcome you all. And again, thanks to Abbott Nutrition. Back to you, Dr. Lisa.
And CariMed. And thanks again, CariMed, as well. Both of them excellent, and thanks very much for sponsoring us, and excellent products. All right, our next presenter is a colleague of mine, Dr. Curtis Pryce. He is actually quite a modest individual, but very, very talented. He's a consultant pediatrician at the Maypen Hospital in Clarendon. He's head of the department, head of neonatal unit, and head of the general pediatrics. He's the coordinator of the Maypen Hospital Transfer Management and currently acting SMO of the hospital. He is a servant of the Most High God. He believes in promoting the natural ways of health management and healing. He has made many presentations on the 8 laws of health, namely nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperature, rest, and trust in God. He endeavors to live what he preaches. He's a vegan. He is persistent with does a daily running program and coordinates the 5K program at the Maypen Hospital. That's the 5K running program that we have. He's married and he's the proud father of 2 beautiful adult ladies. Can we welcome Dr. Pryce today? He will talk on the consequences of sleep deprivation. And he's actually always telling us how to get better sleep. Welcome again, Dr. Pryce.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Lisa, Dr. Dawes, for your introduction. I want to thank the JMHS for inviting a pediatrician to speak on this very important topic. I know you all must be wondering, what the heck is going on here, right? So I'm going to be continuing from Dr. Shetty's, very thorough and thought-provoking presentation on sleep. So I would like to start out by defining what sleep is. Sleep has been defined as a condition of body and mind that typically recurs for several hours on a daily basis. In this situation, the nervous system is relatively inactive, the eyes are closed, and all the postural muscles of the body relax, and the bodily functions and consciousness practically become suspended. Sleep is one of the most underrated and unappreciated physiological phenomena of the body. If you don't eat properly, then you're going to die sooner or later. The same with drinking water. If you don't take care of your body by eating well, you can't survive long. But what most of us don't realize or not aware of is that if you don't sleep well, then you will die sooner or later. They have done some research on sleep-deprived rats, and they found that if rats do not sleep, and us horrible human beings, we do things to the rats that cause them not to be able to sleep, and they die within 2 weeks. There's a condition also called fatal familial insomnia. In this condition, it's usually manifested in midlife, and the individuals literally lose the ability to sleep. It's a familial condition, and they just cannot sleep, and these individuals die after 1 month of losing the ability to sleep. There are certain large mammals in the sea. If they fall asleep, then they will sink to the bottom and drown. But the fact of the matter is that they need to sleep. So what do these animals do? They are wired to put one side of the brain to sleep while the other side remain awake and keep them afloat. The fact of the matter is that if we do not sleep, we will eventually die. Sleep is not just a passive process. So many of us might think of it as, we just go down, all the different processes of the body slows down to a semi-halt. Even the Bible describes it as death, but it's a complex physiological process. Most of the complexity of sleep has been studied over the past 10 to 20 years. And even now, we are still not pretty clear-cut as to the whole intricacies of sleep. Somebody asked earlier, how much sleep do I need. And I found this chart very instructive for your newborn baby. All of you have been associated with children and newborn babies. Up to 3 months, you know, the baby spends most of his time sleeping. All right, sometimes I take little snaps, you know, short sleep throughout the day, but most of the time, 14 to 17 hours of sleep on average per day. When they become a little older, you'll notice that it progressively increases. So at infant age 4 to 12 months, he will sleep at 12 to 16 hours per 24-hour period. And a toddler, you know, between 1 and 2 years, he will sleep for 11 to 14 hours. Preschool children, which, you know, we hear Dr. Shetty hinting on during the whole COVID pandemic, they're supposed to be sleeping 10 to 13 hours per day. You know, we're imploding these little children with a lot of activity and a lot of school work like they're in university, and they're losing out on their sleep. And when they get to the midlife, which we're focusing on today, they end up with a lot of serious issues. School age children, age 6 to 12 years, the required hours is 9 to 12 hours. And of course, your teenagers, the ones that need it the most, you know, they tend to stay up right throughout the night doing their texting and that sort of thing. They really need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep per day. And sorry, in the 18 to 60 age group, 7 or more hours per night. When you get to the 60s, 61 to 64 and over, it's on average 7 to 9 hours. Some, you know, rough statistics on sleep: between 10 to 30% of adults struggle with chronic insomnia. That's a high number, about a third of adults. And it's believed that between 30 and 48% of adults suffer, you know, on the whole from insomnia. The stats shows that women have a lifetime risk of insomnia that is much higher than men, as much as 40%. And as many as 15 to 30% of males and 10 to 30% of females meet a broad definition of obstructive sleep apnea that we mentioned before. An interesting pediatric reference: 1 in 5 boys in the US in a recent study, and we have a similar trend in Jamaica, have been diagnosed with ADHD. But at the same time, there have been significant sleep deprivation in these, you know, young children. And, you know, we wonder, the fact of the matter is that sleep deprivation is a serious masquerade of ADHD. Are we overdiagnosing ADHD, you know, and not really putting the children to sleep? I know most of us are medical, but I know there are some non-medical people, but, you know, this slide applies to everybody. This basically to say to us that sleep is a complex process. It involves many aspects of the brain, right? There's a part of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, in a portion of the brain called the hypothalamus. It's important in what we call the circadian rhythm, all right? The eye is extremely important in sleep, and we'll see that later when we speak about light. It's almost the entry, you know, of light to our bodies. The brain stem is important in REM sleep, which we'll mention earlier, or we'll mention later. The thalamus is the relay center. It relays information from the sensory organs to the cerebral cortex, and that becomes quiet during most stages of sleep. Basically, we're tuning out. The cerebral cortex produces adenosine, which puts the brain to sleep, and in the pineal gland, a hormone called melatonin, which is has become very popular recently. You know, people are selling melatonin tablets and, you know, stuff like that to aid in individual sleeping, and that is produced by the pineal gland. So sleep is a very complex process and involves multiple areas of the brain. When we talk about the sleep stages, we know that there are 2 basic stages of sleep. These are the REM and the non-REM sleep types. The REM means rapid eye movement, and of course non-REM means non-rapid eye movement. In non-rapid eye movement, there are 3 stages, some refer to 4. stages 1, 2, and 3, and in REM, there is just one stage. All right, so we're going to go quickly through the different stages. In stage 1, that is the non-REM stage 1, you're going off to sleep. It's a light sleep, it's a short duration. Your heart rate, your breathing, and your eye movement slows down gradually. Your muscle relaxes, and there's some muscle twitching. All right, so you might, notice a lot of parents, they will take a child in to say that, they're having jerky movements. And of course, as adults, you might appreciate also you're falling asleep and you kind of feel, a part of your body almost in spasm. Okay, and in this stage, the non-REM stage 1, you have slowing of the brain waves as well. So it's a slowing down phase. In stage 2, it's still a light sleep, but still deeper. Your heart rate, your respiration, and muscles, everything drop further. The eye movement stops in non-REM 2, and the brain waves slows with intermittent burst of electrical activity. Non-REM 3 stage, I call it the death stage, right? Your heart rate, respiration slows to its lowest level. The muscles are completely relaxed. The brain waves become slower, and this phase is the longest in the first half of the night, and this is going to become important later. This phase is needed to give you the refreshed feeling that you get when you wake up in the morning. So as Dr. Shetty was hinting at, you might be lying down in the bed and sleeping for 15 hours for the night, and you wake up feeling groggy, and like you never slept at all. In the REM sleep, it's a semi-awake state. So it usually comes on about 90 minutes. That's what, an hour and a third after falling to sleep. Hour and a half, sorry. The brain waves are similar to the awake state. The eyes are closed, but your eyes move rapidly from side to side under your eyelids. The heart rate, the respiration rate increases, and your blood pressure also increases. Remember, in the prior phases, all of those kind of slow down. And in this REM stage, this is when you dream. Your arms and your legs also become paralyzed. And that is important because can you imagine if you're dreaming and you're thinking about killing somebody in your dream, the Lord have it in such a way that you become paralyzed so you can't act out your dream. Of course, we know that there are situations where people, sleepwalk. So a good night's sleep consists of 4 to 5 sleep cycles. Okay, so you should go through 4 to 5 of the full cycle of sleep in a night. All right, and that's also going to become important later. So you go from REM 1 to 3, non-REM 1 to 3, then REM sleep, and then the cycle repeats itself throughout the night 5 times, approximately. If your body doesn't get the benefit of the 5 cycles or 4 cycles, then it will become compromised. All right. So therefore, as we will note later, in order for you to get the 5 cycles, you have to go to bed on time, right? If you go to bed at 12 midnight, you're not going to have enough time to go through the 5 cycles required for you to get the benefits, all the benefits of sleep. There are conditions that results from lack of sleep that may surprise you. Most of us might think of emotional dysregulation. When you don't sleep, you're the most miserable thing ever, right? And a lot of marriages are on the rock because people are working their bottom half to make money and to pay the bills, and that sort of thing. And you're as miserable as hell, and you're hard to live with. Okay. Type 2 diabetes might surprise you. A lot of research have been done. Hypertension, just that time of, your blood pressure reverting almost, to subnormal, and relaxing the body and that sort of thing. I mean, it's more complex than that. Obesity, you'll see some of the research later, which shows that just not sleeping well. So a lot of people are going to the gym, you're eating the right food, you're doing all things, and you cannot lose the belly fat, or you cannot lose the weight. You might need to think about your sleeping habits. Immunological dysfunction, we're going to show you some research that supports that. Depression, suicide, and we mentioned earlier for the younger ones, ADH-like tendency, and of course, you know, aggression, irritability, making the wrong food choices. Okay, so some of you might experience the whole issue. What I find is that when I exercise, you know, for some reason my body kind of adjusts to choosing the right food. But when I become a little lazy and, you know, and that sort of thing, almost like I have craving for the bad foods, right?
Sorry to interrupt a second, Dr. Pryce. 1 second. We're getting some chat in the audience. Is everybody seeing your presentation? It's an excellent presentation, and I'm getting some chat that some people aren't seeing. Some technical difficulties. Any other issues are most people seeing now? Can you answer back in the chat? Because it's an excellent presentation and I don't want people to say that. Okay, so most other people are seeing. Sam, you can help that person if you can who said they're not seeing. Sorry to interrupt. Continue, Dr. Pryce. I didn't want people to mix it.
Yeah, man. All right, so we're talking about negative thoughts, Alzheimer's, early death, right? I mean, just not sleeping, you know, adequately, right? The hours, you know, the quality of sleep predispose you to dying early. Poor performance, I mean, generally, athletic, sexual, educational performance. I was talking to some of my medical students recently, and they're like, Dr. Pryce, how can we sleep 7 hours for the night, right? Much less 8 hours and 9 hours, right? And what they don't understand is that when they deprive themselves like that, you know, academic performance universally falls off. There's poor memory, poor recall, you know, poor performance generally, the increased risk of accidents on the road and just accidents generally. We mentioned divorce, poor relationships at work and otherwise. I know personally, when Friday comes, I tell my students and I tell the staff, today is my miserable day. I tell them, right? So they prepare and they understand, okay? So poor lack of sleep and tired and, you know, and that sort of thing. And this slide kind of just look at, you know, a hodgepodge of all of those situations, the inflammation, even cancer risk is increased with lack of sleep, emotional, you know, instability, hormonal dysregulation, you know. Okay, so I just picked out some of them. Poor sleep is strongly linked to obesity. People with short sleep duration tend to weigh significantly more than those who sleep adequately. In some studies, short sleep duration is one of the strongest associations with obesity, showing as high as an 89% risk of obesity in adults and a 55% risk of obesity in children with sleep deprivation. All right, and it's thought to be related to hormonal imbalance and lack of motivation to exercise, but it's a complex and not well understood phenomenon. Most of us would have heard about the two hormones, ghrelin and leptin. You know, they control weight, okay? So if you are obese, then your body secretes leptin, and leptin reduce your appetite and cause you to eat less and cause you to put on less weight. But with lack of sleep, there's dysregulation of these two hormones, you know, so the body doesn't respond adequately, you know, to the leptin and ghrelin and also their release. So the balance between these two results in an inappropriate appetite and inappropriate weight gain. Sleep and heart disease. Poor sleepers have an increased risk of heart disease and stroke, has been found by numerous research. Sleeping less than the appropriate number of hours, that's why we highlight that at the beginning for age, has consistently resulted in an increased risk of heart disease and stroke. So many of you might have, you know, young children or grandchildren and that sort of thing. You're setting them up, you know, for these serious problems. And of course, as adults, we have to watch ourselves. A study in the Lancet, they studied young men undergoing sleep restriction for 4 hours per night for 6 hours consecutively, and it resulted in impaired glucose tolerance. And this was a very short study. They had impaired fasting glucose and elevated HbA1c. In other words, they become pre-diabetic and are primed to develop type 1 diabetes in the long run. Glucose level rise to a higher level after a meal, and the fat cell's ability to metabolize glucose was impaired in these young people. Sleep and depression, 90% of persons with depression, they complain about their sleep quality prior to the onset of depression. Poor sleep is associated with increased risk of death by suicide. Individuals with sleeping disorders, they report a significantly increased rate of depression. All right, flying off the edge, negative thoughts. We know that the amygdala, which is important in is emotional center, that is affected by sleep as well. This one I found very interesting, Dr. Dawes, the immune system. They did a study on the flu vaccine, and we're in COVID now, I'm talking about the COVID vaccine and why some people not responding or not. The studies show that people who sleep is inadequate or fragmented 1 week before vaccination, they had a 50% reduction in antibodies versus those who slept well. Rhinovirus exposure during the flu season, when they did research, there was 100 to 200% increase in the risk of getting infection if you are sleep deprived, and just for a short time too. Inflammation, sleep lack promotes inflammation in the body generally. Poor sleep, Dr. Dawes, if I'm running over time, please tell me so I can speed up. Poor sleep has been associated. No, you're fine
so far.
Okay, thank you. Has been associated with long-term inflammation of the digestive tract. And what they found is that individuals with inflammatory bowel disease are twice as likely to relapse when they lack sleep, or sleep is inadequate. Many of you might have heard the term autophagy, or some people say autophagy. It basically means auto-self-phagy eating, all right? So self-eating, and it's a concept that has been coined a couple years ago, where they found that the cells in the body basically are primed to clean up itself. So it's a process by which cells partially digest itself, removing toxic products of metabolism, which would otherwise be damaging to the cells. So you can imagine a factory, and our bodies are like the most fascinating factory that has ever been built. It's not evolution at all. Okay, I'm sorry to offend anybody at this point, but it is not. Okay, so we produce a lot of toxic stuff in the body, and they need to be removed. Okay, REM sleep deprivation affects autophagy, and it increases the risk for degenerative disease, right? So a lot of us, we're aging, and the risk of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and that sort of thing is there. What we found, or what the research has found, is that autophagy is active during the REM cycle of sleep. If you do not go through those cycles that we discussed, those 4 cycles, you are at increased risk. And it's a very clear increased risk of, Alzheimer's and other disease of the CNS. It causes neuronal dysfunction. That is, the lack of autophagy and neuronal death. Because as you can imagine, if you have a factory and you're building up all of these toxins and you're not removing them, it's going to kill, normal cells or affect their functions in significant way. It affects the functioning and disease processes in all body system. Autophagy occurs everywhere, right? So, I mean, every cell is actively involved somewhere and the other, and everybody needs to be cleaned up, right? So it's not your brain that is being affected, only your whole body is being affected by this lack of sleep. Of course, the ladies like to talk about, their skin, healthier skin, brighter complexion, sleep, and skin health. This is a chart that I found very instructive. The bottom part is years, and, persons with sleep apnea. So what they found is that having sleep apnea over time, and on the y-axis is the survival rate, and you can see how after 10, 12 years, or rapidly, you know, the number of deaths, you know, the changes between the persons who have sleep apnea or not. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, you know, visit your doctor if you have these issues. They need to be treated, because it's not that, you know, you're just making noise in the night and you know, it's affecting your risk of death later. This is a beautiful diagram which shows what happens in the brain in terms of, you know, how the CSF moves, you know, and that sort of thing. And it is a recently discovered phenomenon. Okay, so I did a little clip of this paper. It's how waste get washed out of our brains during sleep. So that chart that I showed you before, except for the first time, a new study has observed that cerebrospinal fluid washes in and out of the brain in waves similar to the brain waves that occur during sleep, and they help to clear waste from the body. They saw that the cerebrospinal fluid appears to synchronize with the brain waves while we sleep, which helps the brain get rid of its waste. So it's a real thing, all right? And these findings, you know, shed light on the development of Alzheimer's, you know, and plaque formation in the brain and that sort of thing. So we're coming to the end and we talk about sleep and premature death. I think, you know, we basically this slide should say sleep stealers. Dr. Shetty mentioned some of them already, but as you can see in this diagram, this man is in his bed and the TV is on, you know, all of those bright lights tearing down on him. He has a cup filled with coffee, okay, and some snacks over there, okay? So all of those are sleep stealers. Quickly, eating late at night affects your sleep in significant ways. You really should avoid eating for at least 4 hours prior to going to sleep. Falling asleep with the TV on is a death sentence, okay? And we'll, you know, look at some of the suggestions, and Dr. Lowe, I'm sure, is going to suggest some of those. An overactive mind, and your Dr. Dawes spoke about it, right? You go to bed and you're thinking about all the mistakes that you made, all of you, what you call it, high achieving doctors, you know, who can't make mistakes, all right? And you go through your mind and over in your brain, and I should not have done this, and how this could have happened to me, and that sort of thing. That is a sleep stealer. Of course, sleep disorders that we spoke about before, pain for some of the elderlies, varying your time going to bed. So you go to bed 9 today, tomorrow you go at 12, the other day you go at 11, your circadian rhythm is being fooled and being confused, and it will affect your sleep. Many of you don't like to hear about coffee, but caffeinated beverage, full stop, is unhealthy for us. I know that a lot of research are showing that, you know, coffee is good and that sort of thing, but coffee is a sleep stealer, and it lasts for up to 6 hours after consuming the coffee, okay? Having the gadgets in your room, going to bed, making all of these alarms, ting, tong, ting, when everything coming in, and the, you know, the Google and the whatever comes in, those are sleep stealers. Drinking late at night. So you drink your water too late and you have to be waking up to go to the bathroom because you have to urinate and that sort of thing. You know, we have a number of others. What to do? 2 last slides. Make sleep a priority, right? Set a bedtime alarm, 20 to 30 minutes to say it is sleep time. Timing of sleep and wake must be consistent. If you have medical problems, they need to be addressed and sorted out, okay? Because we see where those can affect. We'll talk about the caffeine, you know, affecting sleep up to 6 to 8 hours. The blue light, right? So your tablets and your phones, they are enriched with blue light, and blue light is a significant, you know, trigger for awakeness, all right? It shifts the circadian cycle. You need to get out all of those gadgets and stuff out of the room. As doctors, you know, we know that we have to do a little modification, but dim the light and, you know, do what you can do to reduce those. Do not eat at least 4 hours. I said that. don't drink alcohol, full stop. Or, when you're going to bed, you stay away from those things. Go to bed before midnight. This one is very important. 1 hour sleep before midnight is equivalent to 2 hours after midnight. All right, remember we said you need to go through those 5 cycles of sleep. Bedtime, a warm bath will help. Try not to exercise too near to your sleep time. So we usually suggest try and exercise in the morning, but if you can't, a couple of hours before going to bed. The environment must not be too hot or too cold. You turn on the AC to 18, and that sort of thing, or the room is very hot, that's going to affect. Make sure the environment is quiet as much as you can. Naps are good, but closer to mid-morning and midday, never close to the evening hours. Because as you can imagine, you sleep too near to, the time, it's going to affect you wanting to sleep. Don't dwell on the mistakes of the day. Forgive and ask for forgiveness of your family members, and trust in God. I don't want to leave out that important one. All right, sleep is a complex physiological process in summary that is controlled by multiple areas in the brain. The average adult requires about 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, and sleep is divided in stages. It's a cyclical phenomenon, and it occurs through the night, and each individual must have a certain number of hours of these cycles per night. It's restorative if balanced and done adequately. Proper sleep promotes longevity and reduces the risk of all lifestyle diseases. Watch out for your sleep stealers, one of which can be your best friend, the tablet, the phone, or your telephone. And I'm inviting everybody to sleep well tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Pryce. Excellent, excellent presentation.
Excellent.
We have a few questions for you. I had one that I wanted. I know you said ADHD, but can you tell your audience what ADHD is?
All right, so ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's something that is usually diagnosed in children. All right, but of course, children become adults, right? So you have adult ADHD. So it's usually a number of components. So you have hyperactivity. The child sits down at the adult and they just cannot sit steady. You have individuals who their mind, so they have ADHD, but they don't have the motor, aspect of it. Their mind cannot, focus and stay still. And it also involves impulsivity as well, where the child will just bite somebody or push somebody or grab at somebody and that sort of thing. So it's a very specific diagnosis, which requires very specific treatment. But as we said earlier, sleep can mimic this in children. A lot of children are going to school and are hyperactive and getting all of these issues, and they don't have ADHD, they just need to sleep.
Yes, and careful of the drinks and sodas that you give them, which may be keeping them up.
Exactly.
Yes. All right, let me go through a couple of the questions too. What about a person on night duty for years? What bad effects can this have on the body?
This question, every time I do this presentation, I get this question and I hate the question. You understand? Because, it's a tough thing. Us as, health professionals, really should be sleeping, your 9 o'clock to your 5, 6 o'clock. I mean, that's the best, time ever. And it does in the long term, affects our health. And all I can say is that, we make the best use of the time when we have off. We try as much as possible to, to get out of that sort of cycle. I mean, it's tough, but, that's what we have to do.
Another one, is diabetes due to the lack of sleep reversible by changing your sleeping habit?
Definitely, definitely, but the earlier the better. I mean, the sooner, we do our intervention, the better. As you can imagine, if you have been doing this for 50 years and then you decide to change it in 2 years, it might be a little more challenging, because of all the metabolic things and, and that sort of stuff. And of course, diabetes is a complex process. So we know it's going to involve, a lot of other things in addition. So it's usually not an isolated, eating issue alone. I mean, sleeping issue alone.
I also wondered, as we get older, like over 60, you said our sleep actually that we need increases. Do we know why that occurs?
Not really. I was looking at the chart too and wondering, because you thought it would have progressively kind of just, but in general, as you get older, you require less sleep. It wasn't that significantly different when I looked at it, but I noted that as well.
And I know in both you and Dr. Shetty both talked about sleep apnea. Can you tell your audience signs or symptoms to look for so that they go to seek help?
Well,
the snoring,
I suppose,
etc.
exactly. I suppose one of because some people probably are experiencing the issue, they're not even fully aware of it. All right. So, I mean, your spouse or, somebody in the house can probably help you. You're waking up after sleeping for long periods and just feeling very exhausted. You're waking out of your sleep, catching, breath, as somebody said earlier, why am I stopping to breathe, in my sleep and waking up? That sort of thing you need to explore and get some intervention as early as possible. Your ENT specialist, of course, will be important in that assessment and plan.
You can take it to what I tell people to do also is you can record it if your spouse or your partner hears you snoring. Record it and bring it into your doctor and say, is this something I should worry about? And they will be able to give you more guidance.
That's an excellent point. Excellent point.
One more thing, they want to know if a recording of yours will be on the presentation. Will be available for them. Yeah, we are going to have a recording. I
thought you meant a recording of my sleep apnea.
Okay. So for the audience, there is JMHS will have a recording of this online so you can go back and watch it. And okay. Dr. Shetty has his hands up to ask a question or comment.
Thank you very much for an excellent presentation, Dr. Pryce. Just I want to mention about sleep paralysis, like some folks wake up but feel they can't breathe, they can't move. They are paralyzed, and many people wonder if it's duppy sitting on them or something like that. And it is a sleep issue, which is not so dangerous, not very common either, but it does increase when you're anxious, before exam, before interview and stuff like that. And it is like your car is on, but it is in idle. So it's not moving, but it's on. Nothing to be worried about, and definitely it's not duppy. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Dr. Shetty. Yeah, I have a lot of people talking about, duppy took them over last night. So, that's a very important point. Thanks, Dr. Shetty.
Thank you. And thanks again, Dr. Pryce. That was excellent.
You're welcome.
Quick thing though, I read an article that was talking about before people start showing the signs of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, sometimes they will have a change in sleep habits. And there's a question is that we should be looking for early treatments about them. Dr. Shetty, do you want to say something else? Your hand is still up.
No, it does. A mistake.
Oh, okay. Fine. Magdalena, so I haven't taken over. You want to do the rest of the introductions for our sponsors? Mag?
I'm coming on right now. Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent presentation so far, Dr. Shetty and Dr. What's his name? Dr. Brown? No, I didn't.
Dr. Pryce.
Dr. Pryce. Excellent. I'm having so much fun listening to you all. So the next item on the agenda, we are going right on time. I'm so impressed. is we're going to look at a presentation from Indus Life Sciences at this time. I believe that there's a video to be shown. Over to you, Sam.
Welcome to the world of Indus. And we are happy to join hands with you to serve the humanity across the globe through innovative healthcare brands. In just 16 years, Indus has grown from 1 to 120 products in 12 therapy areas. Today, Indus has spread its wings globally and is now present in 30 countries with 150 professionals spread across geographies like Asia, Southeast Asia, Africa, Europe, Caribbean, and South America. Excellence is not an act, but a habit at Indus. Our world-class products, affordable pricing, excellent supply chain, strong field force, and good business practices have accredited Indus with many excellence awards like Federation of Indian Export Organizations Export Excellence Award, Farm Excel Award, Brand of the Year Award in Ghana, and State Bank of India Financial Discipline Award. What's more, now Indus brings you a 5-minute miracle. In today's fast and modern lifestyle, the incidence of heartburn due to acid reflux and GERD is alarming due to stress and busy schedules, overeating, eating irregularly or too quickly, eating just before bedtime, fatty, spicy and fried junk foods, caffeinated drinks, carbonated soft drinks, acidic juices and alcohol, and smoking. As published in many international journals, hyperacidity, acid reflux and GERD lead to heartburn. In hyperacidity, the excess acid from the stomach can move upward into the esophagus, known as acid reflux. As the lower esophageal sphincter, which joins the esophagus and stomach, becomes weak. Since the esophagus is not well protected like the stomach, the acid can irritate the lining and cause inflammation in the esophagus. This causes painful symptoms that can last for a few minutes to hours and can occur more frequently within a week. This chronic form of acid reflux is known as GERD, that is, gastroesophageal reflux disease. The major symptoms of heartburn due to acid reflux and GERD are a burning feeling in the chest, epigastric pain, a bitter or sour taste in the mouth, nausea after eating, regurgitation, frequent burping, flatulence and gas, stomach discomfort, difficulty in swallowing, sore throat and dry cough. The question now is, do regular antacids help? In hyperacidity and GERD, regular antacids can only neutralize the acids, leaving acid reflux unattended. To treat hyperacidity, acid reflux and GERD, Indus Life Sciences comes with a unique third-generation antacid named NewGel, which controls acidity, prevents reflux. NewGel offers balanced combination of alginic acid, magnesium hydroxide, dried aluminum hydroxide, magnesium trisilicate, and dimethicone. When a person takes NewGel, the raft-forming alginate physically blocks reflux through a unique mechanism. When alginic acid comes in contact with the gastric acid, the raft-forming alginate, which includes natural algae, begins to form a light but strong foam barrier known as raft. This raft floats on top of the stomach contents and prevents acid from moving upward to the esophagus. The alginate raft formula, containing balanced antacid components, offers a speedy onset of action in less than 5 minutes and provides rapid relief from acid reflux with effective neutralization of stomach acid. NuGel has long-lasting effects up to 4 hours, since the raft can be retained in the stomach for several hours. Dimethicone in NuGel is an anti-foaming agent. It reduces the surface tension of gas bubbles, causing them to combine into larger bubbles in the stomach, which can then be passed more easily by means of belching. Dimethicone thus relieves flatulence. NuGel is recommended in hyperacidity, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, gastritis, flatulence, and as an adjuvant to NSAIDs. NuGel is available as NuGel 200 ml suspension and NuGel tablets with delicious mint flavor. NuGel is safe in pregnancy. NuGel is sugar-free, hence safe for diabetics. For patients with symptomatic pain due to gastric and duodenal ulcer, Indus also presents NuGel O, the alginate raft-forming antacid with mucosal anesthetic agent oxytocin. Oxytocin is a potent, safe, local anesthetic agent that provides prolonged anesthesia of mucous membranes, thereby offering prompt and prolonged relief of pain. NuGel O is available in 200 ml suspension with mint flavor. NuGel and NuGel O. Raft formation reduces intensity and frequency of reflux attacks. Works in less than 5 minutes. Offers long-lasting effect up to 4 hours. Sugar-free, hence safe for diabetics. Delicious mint flavor improves patient compliance. We thank the entire medical fraternity for supporting Indus in our journey towards better healthcare.
Everybody, it seems that I'm now being induced with sleep, and I don't know why, but I'd like to thank, I've been yawning ever since after Dr. Pryce spoke. I suppose he made me very calm with that presentation. Thanks again to Indus for their presentation. Indus Life Sciences, really good presentation there. Over to you, Dr. Lisa. All right, so our next presentation is...
In 2003, a dream to make quality medicine affordable and accessible to the people across the world drove our founder, Dr. M.S.N. Reddy, to set up an API manufacturing unit in Hyderabad with just a handful of employees. Today, Dr. M.S.N. Reddy's vision has come a long way. Our ability to see things differently has made M.S.N. Laboratories one of the fastest growing research-based pharmaceutical companies in the world. From a humble beginning, we are now a company that has hundreds of best-in-class APIs and formulations. The manufacturing units of M.S.N. Labs are present in India, US, and Myanmar, and it has marketing offices spread across the world. At M.S.N. Labs, R&D has always been an enduring passion which enabled us to become a global entity. The fully integrated R&D Center of M.S.N. caters to both API and formulation research under one roof. It is equipped with state-of-the-art laboratories and cutting-edge technologies. The API manufacturing facilities at M.S.N. are backward integrated, offering cost-effective medicines coupled with quality. Our facilities are equipped with modern reactors that are capable of handling high reaction volumes. Our modern reactors are automated with closed transfer system for manufacturing high-potency APIs. Besides APIs, MSN Labs also manufactures various finished dosage formulations. MSN has a separate block with ultra-modern facility exclusively built to manufacture oncology and other specialty products. All our facilities are zero discharge and environment-friendly units. Our packaging lines are fully automated and are serialization compliant. The warehouses at MSN Labs uses computer-controlled robotic technology employed for efficient and error-free storage as well as transfer of material. MSN Labs today boasts of a diverse therapeutic product portfolio. This includes first in India generic medications. MSN's largest number of DMF filings stands as a testimony to the research skills and execution excellence we have acquired over the years. These, along with its various new innovations, have ensured that MSN Labs have progressively won the confidence and faith of the consumers across the world. Certified by renowned regulatory bodies and bestowed with prestigious industry awards, MSN Labs is a clear frontrunner in today's global pharmaceutical landscape. We at MSN believe that continuous learning is vital to succeed, and we partner with like-minded organizations to nurture skills. MSN's special networking initiatives are a perfect platform for bringing industry leaders together to share knowledge and to connect with consumers. As a part of its initiative to give back to the society, MSN regularly organizes free diabetic detection camps, blood donation camps, and collaborates with various NGOs and helps patients through our compassionate medicine programs. In the last 15 years, MSN has grown tremendously, and the core of this phenomenal growth is our exceptional workforce who are driven by passion to go beyond perfection. MSN Labs, making a difference to people's lives. One product at a time.
Wow, wow, clearly driven by passion to go on to perfection. I hope I stated that correctly. Thank you, MSN, for that presentation. And I want everybody to go in the chat and raise, not in the chat, but raise your hand, everybody, to give all of our sponsors so far in their presentations. Give them a 5. Let me see the hands going up in the chat. Hey, let me see the hands going up. Yes, go on again. Yes, everybody. Yes, really great presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So MSN and Indus and all the other sponsors, you will see that you're getting the hands up and the chat and saying thanking you so much. Okay, so we can put down our hands now on this platform. And at this time, I'm going to introduce our final presenter, who is Dr. Susan Lowe. Dr. Susan Lowe is an integrative general practitioner, transformational coach, and counselor with over 30 years of experience in medical and semi-professional work. With degrees in medicine, MBBS, man environment, and social sciences, New York State Fellowship, her academic work has great range, including integrative and experimental medicine and transformational coaching and counseling. I need to come and see you, Dr. Susan Lowe. This work links medicine with behaviors and emphasizes the natural, functional, and sustainable approaches, and has led to an uncommonly wide scope of publications in academic medicine. Her writings and presentations address both medical and non-medical topics such as nutrition, porn and the computer, history of gender issues, Caribbean transport and medical systems, and overviews of human sexuality. Active in public health and health coaching and counseling, Dr. Lowe is the founder of Online Counseling, a service that provides an excellent solution for client anonymity and convenience. I was very intrigued when I saw this. I didn't see your, I probably could say it when you're making your presentation. I didn't see a link, an online link, but that should be really useful if you can put it in the chat for everybody to see what the link is, if that's okay with you. Continuing my introduction to you, or of you, also a trained paralegal, dancer, and translator who is ardent about coaching. Dr. Lowe has demonstrated a unique skill set regarding coaching midlife men through emotional and health issues and pain management. I think we'll probably get to midlife women too. She serves clients globally from the Americas to the Far East and enjoys the diaspora. Dr. Lowe is a publisher of the following books. I hope my Jamaican comes out well here. You Get Joke, Diaries of a Jamaican Medic. So those of you who are around, not from Jamaica, what it means that you get punched or you get licked, you get a knock. Okay, the next one is Shove Down and Small Up Yourself. Diaries of Jamaica by Bus. It is so much part of the Jamaican culture in terms of small up yourself. I haven't learned how to do it yet. At our JMHS Zoom webinar symposium today, Dr. Susan Lowe will share how to overcome sleep disorders. Over to you, Dr. Susan Lowe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. Can I get the permission to record myself, please? From the digital moderator man?
Yes, Sam will do that for you. So I'm sure he'll do that for you.
So it's on, I guess. Yeah, recording. Okay. All right, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so here we go. Dying to sleep, what to do en route to satisfying sleep. Okay. Sorry, computer is a bit slow. All right. First off, you need to breathe. The air needs to be reasonably clean at least, and you need that to happen in your bedroom, if nowhere else in the house. So basic, because COVID has disrupted our relationship with the outdoors, because it has disrupted our routines, exposure to light at appropriate times, there is a mass of problems with insomnia, and this is a step-by-step guide and overview of how to overcome it. It's very basic, very 1, 2, 3. These are the things you do. So you open your windows, position the bedroom with the bed out of the draft and away from the windows. The louvers must be dusted, the curtains unmasked, and the stuffed toys washed once a week to fortnightly. Books and dusted junk and boxes out of the room. The air conditioner filters and window screens must be washed once a month. Our pediatric ward at UA does that. For sure, I've seen it. The fan must be wet wiped, broken down and washed once a week, or you'll obviously be blowing allergens straight onto you. Half of apnea sometimes is explained only by these environmental and allergic factors. All right. If the yard is dusty, go outside with a hose and damp it down at night. If you have a fowl coop and a rabbit hutch, move it far from the house or put it downwind so that the allergens are blown away from your house and your bedroom. No pets in the house, please. At least not in the bedroom. No smoking in the house. Avoid the spray insecticides. Use boric acid and condensed milk in bottle caps in corners or icing sugar. You can get herbal mosquito repellents. You can also use an insecticide called Nature Organic, which is a small amount of pimento oil. Mosquito nets. Use, or if you have to use the bear and the bay gun and all of that, use it in the morning, vacate the place, and go back at night. And there's to be no burning in the yards. It's illegal now. In fact, I have a set of numbers for the KSAC health inspectors for those who have trouble of my clients with their neighbors, so that the KSAC or the fire can, visit the neighbors and talk to them and say, well, so-and-so has asthma and they can't possibly have you burning on the side, etc. Treat your apnea, please. All right. All of the above and below, especially if you are asthmatic. For asthmatics and allergics, never blow the fan directly on or across you. Create or install an extractor fan system. How do you do this? You blow any regular fan, desk or standing, out of the window. And the window is, of course, to be clean, and the screen as well. This allows you to suck air out of the room, and the draft is created when the cool air from outside fills the vacuum inside. This can be quite cooling. And if you have a ceiling fan, use the updraft setting. There is a tiny little switch on the body of the fan that when shifted left or right, up or down, will create either an updraft or a downdraft. At the very least, when you're sleeping, use the updraft. Turn it on full blast and use the updraft. That creates quite a cool draft of air. All right, remove all the Christmas flowers from the garden. That means the euphorbia family. That's the white and the red ones. These are some of the most major allergens in the Caribbean. Use your inhalers and medicines as you are prescribed. Get rid of roaches, if possible, without the insecticides. Roaches are the other major allergen in the Caribbean. All right, the pillows must be fiber-filled, not down or foam, because down and foam are either allergenic in and of themselves or they trap allergens. These are fomites, what we call fomites, things that trap allergens. And they are not to be over a year old or cover them with plastic. Mattresses should not be over 3 years old or covered with plastic. Good people, Otrivin. If you think Otrivin is going to help you over 7 days, you're wrong. What happens is that the Otrivin eventually damages the little blood vessels in your nose. And when you stop using it, you get a reflex congestion that can be even worse than what you began with. Now, Montelukast, for those who are in the asthma category, it's now got a black box warning for neuropsychological effects. So ask your practitioner about this one. And that's an FDA black box warning. Okay, drinking. You have to be hydrated to go to sleep, but you can't be drinking right before bed. So during the day, drink 2 liters, 2 quarts, all through the day, between meals. Why between meals? Because if you drink while you're eating, you disrupt your acid indigestion, your the ability of your hypochloric acid to digest your food. So do it between meals. It also helps with satiety and losing weight. You can drink water, coconut water, Pedialyte, oral rehydration salts. When you have things like hot teas that are sweetened and soups and all that, we don't call that hydration. We're talking about water, coconut water, Pedialyte, oral rehydration salts. Judicious use of coffee and tea if you are insisting on using them, and use them in the day, no later than lunchtime, okay? Because really and truly, they really are sleep stealers, as Dr. Pryce said. Now, cut down on the sweetened drinks, cut them out altogether if you can, because they require more water to process. And if you're going to take in more water at night is going to throw off your sleep, etc., etc. Right? So no more than 4 ounces of anything right before bed, and certainly preferably none. Okay. I'm just going to ask if I can adjust Dr. Pryce's thing about 4 hours before bed. You need peak blood sugar and a roughly empty stomach to sleep in with. So if you eat your meal about 2 hours before you lie down, you can digest enough to have a nearly empty tummy, but your blood sugar, which you need in order to sleep well, will be at its peak. If this is a challenge, especially for pregnant women and diabetics, take 2 teaspoons of honey to smooth out the blood sugar cycle right before bed. This may sound counterintuitive for diabetics, but what happens is, honey is what I call the long-range bomber. It has to pass through the liver and form glycogen, most of it. There's very little glucose in honey. And that glycogen is your long-range bomber. It smooths things out over the night because it's a slow release from the liver, and it will keep the blood peaks and troughs at a minimum so that you can sleep properly, because you do need a certain amount of blood sugar circulating in the blood in order to sleep well. At night, if you're going to use antacids, use magnesium, because magnesium is relatively unabsorbable in this form, but still there's some that you can absorb, which helps sleep. Not Tums. Tums is calcium, basically pure calcium. And at night, you do not want to be putting calcium into the stomach, because in order to digest calcium properly, you need more acid. So while calcium itself is a sleep aid, try and get that calcium during the day and not at night, because you will end up with hyperacidity if you put calcium into your stomach, and that means dairy right before bed. All right, here you go. If you have to eat right before bed, only a light snack, e.g. 4 dry or lightly buttered crackers and 4 ounces of a non-milk based thing like Irish moss, for example. Calcium in dairy, milk, and cheese will require more acid to digest, although undigestion is a sleep aid. Get it throughout the day. Okay, relations and sex. Not necessary, but can be very relaxing for sleep. Kindly relations at bedtime without clothes stimulates oxytocin, a feel-good, cuddly, and relaxing hormone. Orgasm is icing on the cake and adds to the parasympathetic effect. There's an old adage, don't let the sun go down on your argument. Put the baby in his or her own space, even if it's a petition, because just the sight of a baby to a mother, a toddler, is a distraction from her own pleasure, from anything. It is her cue is to look after the baby rather than worry about herself and what her husband is doing. So if you only even have a petition, take the baby out of the line of sight. Okay, environment and ergonomics. Sleep in the bed, not any table, any chair, cat sleep anywhere. Remember that old poem. Temperature. You can't sleep too hot or too cold, so please do use your fan, but use it the way I was instructing. Yes, you can use your air conditioner, even though the power is massively expensive now. You simply turn it on for half an hour, cool down the room, and then turn it off if necessary. One pillow only. If you must, have a raised position, tilt the entire bed on concrete blocks or whatever. Turn sideways, 6 to 8 inches, wooden box risers, or use a bed wedge, especially if you have GERD or heartburn. Okay, You need to shop around for the right pillow for you. Is it ergonomic or a normal type? Memory foam. To date, most of the memory foam I have come across in helping patients is junk. But the memory foam that is made out here in Jamaica or used out here is a very, very good quality at Polyflex foam. And do you want a soft pillow? Do you want a tough pillow? Just ensure that your airway is not kinked. Okay? A kinked airway will often lead to something that sounds very like apnea. So the correct firmness of mattress is also necessary. Use a board on the springs if necessary. Okay, here's an example of the two risers that you can make. Sometimes people order them off the web. Here's the bed wedge. And this is the example of the bed risen on the risers. You can use a 6 or 8 inch block turned sideways. Okay, this is what I mean about kinked airways, bad pillows or head settings in your bed. You will not have a straight through tract from your nose to your lungs, and you will cut down proper airflow when you're sleeping. And your back, you're going to have pain if you have a too soft mattress or a lumpy one, etc. What you're trying to do is create straight lines, straight ergonomic lines through the entire body, from the nose down to the base of the spine. If you have to support your back, and it's a good idea to, even if you don't have back pain, you can use a pillow, a lumbosacral form. All of these forms are available again at Polyflex. I know I don't work with Polyflex, but they know me down there very well. This is to support the spine, the lower sacral area. Okay, light. Dr. Pryce talked about this. Blue light is great, but in the day. Blue light is essential so that you don't get depressed because it affects the pineal gland. Blue light is essential as a trigger to wake you up and put you to sleep, but not too much of it and not at the wrong times of day, which is what is happening in COVID. At night, what you want is rose-colored light, not daylight or a soft white. The incandescent bulb of old, which was a very wasteful power gadget rather, is the correct color if you're going to use light at night. Candlelight is the correct color. So use that shade or as close to it as possible in your bedroom and home. As Dr. Pryce said, get all the devices, TVs, phones, computers, routers, etc. out of the bedroom because they emit light, sound, and also EMF waves, right? Electromagnetic frequency waves. Bedrooms should be darkened to the point you cannot see your hand outstretched. And at a maximum, put the night light at floor level near doors, etc., so you don't bump into them. Okay. Devices. Stop using TVs, phones, computers 2 hours before bed. They are overstimulating not only with light, but all of this addictive stuff that Dr. Shetty spoke about. You're talking to this one, emailing the other, friending this one, unfriending another. Get rid of that overstimulation and the light effects. Now, ensure all your devices are set on warm, dark, or night setting after 6 p.m. All the phones now have this. If they don't, you can download this program, Iris Mini. I'm using it right now on the computer, which sets the warmer tones. You go into the red part of the spectrum instead of staying in the blue. And unfortunately, the iPhones will have to side load them because, you know, iPhones are already and they're for snicketiness. But it's there, and you have these warm and dark settings, in your phone, in your computer. So please explore them. At home, try to limit the kids' use of devices and TV to 4 hours, 2 for work, 2 for fun. That's already half of a workday exposure to this type of screen light and stimulation. If you have no work to do, if the kids don't have computer work to do at home, 2 hours of fun only, right? I know that is a battle, but please wage it. It's a war worth winning. It's slow. All right. Most people do need a routine to go to bed. Make the time to go to bed and get up at the same time. train yourself by just lying there at first, even if you're not asleep. If you are a shift worker, you can still develop a routine that is usually inclusive of a nap. If you're a napper, please nap, and don't worry about the number of slept hours during the night. The whole idea is that when you get up, you feel refreshed. There is not an absolute for everybody that it must be the 6 or 8 or whatever hours. The idea is, do you feel refreshed when you get up? Okay, so don't worry if you're a night worker or a shift worker or whatever, that you're not getting the right sleep in the night and all that. If you can survive comfortably and and be refreshed by naps, do so. Winston Churchill won his way through the war on naps. Okay, here's it again. The rough adults get sick between 6 and 8, kids and teens up to 10, right? But that is a moving range, and it is not exact. There are always outliers and standard deviation people, etc. Now, there is research that goes back to 2000 and 2004 that we are, I find, largely ignoring, and Dr. Shetty can correct me on this if anything. Studies in Germany, University of Munich, and studies by the Sleep Foundation in the US have found that during puberty, teens sleep and wake hours shift later. So the fact that your teen is sleeping away the day and all of this is not really accurate. He has a biological reason that he has shifted upwards. They haven't worked it all out yet, but the correlation with the end of that and going back to the earlier sleep cycle is so significant that the Germans believe that you can actually tag the end of puberty by it. Now, what does that mean for school? What does that mean for college? What does that mean for med school? We need to examine it seriously, because we may be doing our teens a serious disservice. Create sleep routines for babies and kids. This is where problems are avoided later. Don't spoil them and give in to the bawling and the complaining. All right. Again, what is important is feeling refreshed after sleep. Do not drive yourself crazy about routines. If you don't have one, try and make one. But if it is one that works for you and is not recommended, we are all different. Not everyone fits the statistical bell curve. Okay, you need to be exercised to sleep. And COVID has really gotten in the way of that one for many people. Approximately 1.5 hours should be aerobic for a total of 3 hours per week. Meditation, yoga, and scuba. These are kind of specialized, but they're becoming more popular. Meditation actually is now proven to almost rewire your brain and your central nervous system, tied into your pacemaker in your heart. Yoga is gentle stretch and breathing. And scuba, I saw Dr. Shetty is the first one I've ever seen. Or was it Dr. Shetty, was it? Or Dr. Pryce mentioned scuba. What happens in scuba is that you rewire yourself for many reasons. One, you get into an environment that is totally different than air. It's water, it feels different. You actually hear pink noise with your own breathing from the bubbles that come from the regulator. What does pink noise mean? It's a rhythmic noise like the waves of the sea, like your own breathing. That's why they tell you in meditation to tap into your breathing, because it has a hearing as well as a feeling effect. And the pure air that you breathe when you're doing scuba, because it has to be purified air in tanks, has an enormous effect on the brain. It's absolutely free of pollutants as far as humanly possible. So if you can only do one type of exercise, in fact, I'll go back to scuba. I have helped people quit their drug habits with scuba. All right, you can go back now to the business of exercise. If you can only do one type, try and find one that changes your rhythm to a more deep and rhythmic breathing, and that is in your comfort zone, like walking, gentle stretching. The idea is to pleasantly refresh yourself, not exhaust yourself, because believe me, overtired, you won't sleep either. Okay, wellness. Look after yourself and get professional help for sleep disorders, depression and mental health troubles, thyroid problems, chronic pain, heart and blood pressure problems, diabetes, apnea, epilepsy, etc. All of these, as Dr. Pryce said, can really affect your sleep. Last but useful resort for a good night's sleep: medicines, remedies, and herbs. Take the advice of your healthcare professional to manage medications that can or are meant to affect your sleep. They can include medication for asthma, thyroid, pain, depression, diabetes, hypertension, sleep relaxation, etc. Okay, the remedies and herbs, etc. Again, take the advice of your healthcare professionals to manage remedies and herbs and over-the-counter drugs that can or are meant to affect your sleep. They can include the cannabinoids. Now, good people, that does not mean you can take any and every, because half the time when you take unmonitored or unregulated substance, it has a lot of THC, and you know that THC is the up and about and bouncy part of it. You want the majority of what you take, if you're going to use it for pain and sleep, to be cannabinoids. Melatonin. I was very proud to hear that UWI Tony Thwaite Swing is beginning to use it to help patients. But listen, if you buy it off the shelves, you need somebody to help you monitor it. It is what we call in medicine an exogenous addition to your hormonal cycle. So you can't just keep taking it ad nauseum without a drug holiday, unless the doctor tells you to do so. So melatonin is not to be used just willy-nilly. None of them are. I used Calms when I was in med school. It's something you don't use just at bedtime, but it's an old English thing that you can get and use all through the day. Valerian is a herb that really does help sleep, but get some advice when you use it. Magnesium and calcium. We used to think you could take magnesium by itself. You really can't. It has to be with something else, either D3 or magnesium or whatever, because it throws off a lot of your osteo and blood calcium cycle, etc. if you take it all by itself. Magnesium you can take by itself, and you get some of it when you take milk of magnesia, but you can take the more absorbable forms to help you sleep. But just because it's natural and over the counter does not mean it doesn't have side effects and that you can prescribe for yourself and take them how you feel. They are medicaments. Okay, so small sampling of references here. And then back to the Egyptians, they knew the importance of the midbrain in being the operations manager of everything we do. And it is believed that it was actually codified in the drawing of the eye of Horus, or your third eye. So don't be like handicap. And that's the end of that. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe, for your presentation. Again, another inspiring presentation, which we learned a lot from. What about you, Dr. Lisa? What did you learn from this, from the presentation? And what did you learn?
I actually learned something interesting. I've been trying to find a good reason to go back to scuba diving. And I was like, I have to get in touch with her to figure out the best ways of doing it right now. But I think she made some very interesting points. One of the things is that natural, most of our medicines actually came from herbs. So they can, herbs can give you side effects. They can be helpful. So I believe in that wholeheartedly, that if you use our herbs, know both the benefits and the side effects, and not everybody can take the same thing, and they can be helpful. Very excellent presentation with concrete things that people can look up and do, and done very simply that we all can understand.
Yes. Can you tell us some of the questions in the chat that are coming up? I saw some really great ones, some great questions. I'm just not seeing them right now. I don't know if you were seeing them, but I am not seeing them right now.
No, there are no open questions right now after hers. Hers was actually excellent. I know there was one about, can you please post in the contact numbers for KSAC to report the illegal burning? Thank you. So they want that posted.
Okay.
And they were asking for her number as well, her contact details.
Yeah, she posted her online number on how to contact her, but they wanted phone numbers as well.
Yes.
Somebody commented about is sleeping on your left side advised? I'll let Dr. Lowe take that.
Oh, it's really dependent on, it's the same thing we tell pregnant women.
If you're pregnant, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's the business of where the stomach lies and pressurizes which blood vessels and structures in the abdomen, etc. So, you know, to tell the truth, you have to sleep on the side that is most comfortable for you. But because of the recommendations and because of the way the body is set up, there are certain structures that get pressurized when you sleep on a given side that we try to avoid. And therefore, we recommend that you sleep on that side and so forth. So like the large abdominal blood vessels and even your own stomach, and when it is emptying, is affected by
your liver.
Yeah, you know, emptying of the bile ducts and so forth are affected by the side that you sleep on. So as I said, it's up to you if you feel comfortable, but there is a side which compresses more than the other.
Okay, there was another one that
I sleep on my left side, and so I don't think I look too bad for it, right?
I actually sleep on my back, and it really depends on your issues. Left side, as Dr. Lowe said, especially more important for pregnant women, because most of the organs are on the right and they have the baby there. But it also, as she says, you know, it's also between the back and laying on the side really depends on the person.
Thank you.
Coffee perhaps shouldn't be drunk within 8 hours of bedtime if you have a sleep disorder. It's a stimulant. Does it probably also have a long dehydrating effect overall?
It is a dehydrator for sure. The other thing is, if I may interject something here, it is said that we're actually using coffee at the wrong end. It makes an excellent enema for flushing the whole bile system, but we use it in the mouth and in the morning. And many people actually use coffee as their way to go to the bathroom in the morning. So, you know, as I said, use it judiciously, but certainly because of its long range effects, you cannot be using it at all really past lunchtime. It will affect you, unless you're one of those rare oddities like a doctor I know who said I don't go to sleep at night unless I have their coffee. I mean, she was odd, let me tell you. So
how do you manage hot flushes and sweats throughout the night and sleep properly?
I have a very particular way of doing that, which I researched for myself, and then I use it on patients. Instead of taking hormonal replacement therapy in great gobs orally daily, I found out that you can use it at about quarter the dose if you take it under the tongue in a broken form. You break it up, crush it, even though it's tiny, and put it under the tongue and use it once a week. Or you can put it directly into the vagina, up where it belongs and near to the structures that it affects. So if the women can remember what their periods were, I encourage them to follow the cycle that they used to have. For example, I do remember my cycle. So I'll take a half a pill on the 7th, a half a pill on the 11th, a half a pill. Or
which pill?
The lowest dose over-the-counter hormone replacement. I use Lindinet, which is the lowest dose I can find. And you use that, as I said, along the cycle. I use a whole tablet over the 14th, 15th, which is mid-cycle. Then you use it again, half a tablet on the 21st and a half a tablet on the 28th. Now, if you can't remember your cycle, don't even worry about that. Just use, and you can't bother break it up either. It is very beneficial to use one pill under the tongue, let it soak away, crushed, or one pill directly into the vagina at night for one time a week for your sleep assistance. In fact, I'll take it a little earlier so effects are felt later. Try it in the morning, in fact, and it really does work. And then you don't have a lot of the problems that go with hormone replacement therapy, like bloating, and all the rest of the things. In other words, you're getting, because it's going sublingual or mucosal, you can take far less. Hormones are not really good taking through the gut because they are better and more efficacious once injected or once through the mucosa. So if anybody wants help with that, I'm happy to help them with. But that hot flash business used to affect me, and I did a lot of research, checked it out with Professor Mike, head of Department of Medicine, and he said, sister, if that low dose helps you mucosally, by all means, and it's going to be protective of you as well. And if you use it vaginally, you then don't have to use Premarin and all that kind of thing usually, which is for dry vaginas in midlife and whatnot.
Thank you
They said
so
to
much.
spell the name of the tablet in the chat.
Okay, Lindinet, okay.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Dr. Susan Lowe. You know, all three of you just did so well, and it was such a learning experience. I'd like to thank you, Dr. Pryce and Dr. Shetty, for sharing so much. I think it's back to you, Dr. Lisa, for the next set of
Sponsors
videos.
highlights.
Yes.
I think next we have Medimplex. And that's with Christopher Fuller and Mrs. Hubbard.
Good day, everyone. My name is Christopher Fuller, medical representative representing Medimplex Jamaica Limited and Medimplex West Indies Limited, geared towards providing first-class products for healthy living. Let's get into a few of those products. First is a new kid on the block, AirPro, which is a waterproofing air spray, which will retail for about $2,600 and contains 200 applications. AirPro's active ingredients are all natural and contains medical grade mineral oil and organic oregano oil. And the oregano oil is a natural antimicrobial that helps to combat bacteria and fungus. It will reduce the risk of microbial infection of the air and prevents common air problems. The main ingredient, which is the mineral oil, will help to act as a highly water repellent layer, waterproofing the skin lining and dispelling water from the air. This limits direct skin exposure to water and any contaminants or microorganisms contained in the water, helping to prevent air infection or swimmer's ear, surface ear. How should AirPro be used? Spray AirPro in both ears before entering the water. Softly rub the targus or outer skin to make sure the air canal is coated. Remove any surplus liquid with a tissue. Wash your hands after use. Do not plug your ear with loose cotton wool. Reapply after 2 hours of water exposure. AirPro will leave your ear naturally, so there's no need to wash it out. Here's a pictorial representation. So remember, shake the bottle before using and before entering the water. Apply 1 spray in each ear and gently massage. Since we're on the air, let me mention our Ceramol line of products. We have Ceramol Regular and Ceramol Olive Oil. Our Regular was reformulated to include turpentine oil in addition to other ingredients which help to soften and break down impacted wax. The Regular retails for $770, while Olive Oil retails for $890. This is our Adolescent ointment, which is currently the only preparation that we have, as the suppositories have been discontinued. The ointment retails for $700. Adolescent provides triple action hemorrhoid relief. It relieves pain, soothes itching, promotes healing. Adolescent's active ingredients are allantoin. Acting as an astringent, it helps to shrink and dry out the hemorrhoid, and lidocaine, which acts as a local anesthetic, relieving pain and discomfort in the area. It is used by first washing the affected area, drying it, and then applying the ointment twice daily. The Norsorbifer, or iron supplement. 100 milligrams of elemental iron resulting from 320 ferrous sulfate contains 60 milligrams of ascorbic acid to aid with absorption and employs a slow release technology. Retails for about $28 per tablet. It's indicated for the treatment of iron deficiencies and anemia. Dosing for children over 12 and up, 1 tablet twice daily, swallowed intact 30 minutes before a meal. Here are some of the benefits. It's affordable, it's odorless, small size, fast absorption, less GI irritation, less chance of constipation. Think Solifer. Here is a reminder of our MK over-the-counter line to include MK loratadine, MK acetaminophen, syrup and tablets, and our dewormer, MK albendazole. And now we speak briefly about our Covonia line. Cough and cold medicines with clout. Think Covonia, a wide range in the line, excellent products for the cold and cough season. And finally, here is our Prime Health line of vitamins. So as you can see, Medimpex does provide you first-class products to ensure healthy living. Here is a reminder of our new address. It's 21 Balmoral Avenue. I take the opportunity to thank you for your attention. Appreciate it. And please enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Medimplex. And we have our next sponsor, our own Mrs. Amoy Rickman, who is going to give us on Health 2000.
Good day, this is Health 2000 Canada, otherwise known as H2K. H2K cetirizine, the complete response to allergy. For rapid onset of action between 30 minutes to 1 hour and once per day convenient dosing, use H2K cetirizine. May cause drowsiness. When you need fast, non-drowsy allergy relief, think H2K loratadine. Hydrate with H2K glucolite oral rehydration salts. H2K glucolite helps prevent dehydration. It is the best tasting orange flavor oral rehydration salts on the market today. H2K Silvacant Silver Sulfadizine Cream provides fast relief for second and third degree burns and prevents infection of burnt surfaces and chronic ulcers. Borototal Neem Cream, an Ayurvedic antiseptic cream that heals, soothes, moisturizes, making it the perfect companion, the power-packed herbal alternative for wound healing and skin infections. Neem provides a wide spectrum of antibacterial action. Aloe vera has anti-inflammatory and cooling properties which soothes and speeds healing. Sesame seed oil treats inflamed, irritated, and damaged skin as it has high antioxidant and antibacterial properties. Asuka is an astringent and helps reduce irritation and burning sensations in the skin. Licorice stimulates wound contraction for a better healing outcome, and zinc heals and rejuvenates the skin. Borototal Neem Cream reduces topical pain, calms minor skin inflammation, fights minor skin infections, and promotes skin healing. Borototal Neem Cream is locally recognized and effective for the diabetic foot, that thin, dry, papery skin that is prone to ulcers forming. Borototal is effective on cuts and scratches, nappy rash, dry cracked skin, dry cracked nipples, maskne, blisters and burns, minor sunburn, insect bites, and much more. You can apply Borototal 2 to 3 times per day over the affected area after thoroughly washing and drying. Try Borototal Neem Cream, you're gonna love it. H2K Naturella 5-in-1 Cream, formerly known as Brown and Beautiful, contains licorice root extract, niacinamide, lactic acid, and ursa leaf extract. Use daily for youthful looking skin. Stay flawless without bleaching with H2K Naturella. All our products are available in pharmacies island-wide. Please ask for it. Thank you and have a great week ahead.
I think this is another time to say thanks to all of our sponsors and our presenters. So please, everybody, put the hand in the chat and let's see you say thanks to everybody who contributed to today's session. Time to put up those yes. And it was really a pleasure to co-host with you, Dr. Lisa. Really, really was. Back to you.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming, but we want to just remind everybody we are looking for members. It's a very good society. We learn a lot from each other, and the more people we have to help to distribute the information and learn, the better it is. So we want people to join the society and the executives, so both healthcare workers and non-healthcare workers. We are looking forward for you to join us. The annual dues, if you join us, is only $2,500. We have requested CMEs, and that should be coming online shortly after. Please remember, however, that you have to do the post-test in order to get the CMEs. Our contact information is already in the chat. I am going to turn over our closing remarks to Dr. Brown, but thanks everybody, and they will do the rest. Dr. William Brown, our president, up to you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. What a feast. And some new knowledge that I've acquired even after more than 30 years of practice. I still keep on learning. A feast of medical knowledge, both old and new. And this webinar has really shown us that we need to keep on learning and discussing and sharing knowledge. The webinar started on a good note, especially when President Brian James of MAJ mentioned 3 C's, which were the consequences or the causes of sleep, the consequence of sleep, and the correction of sleep, which were what was done exactly by the 3 speakers. Then Mrs. Jean Laurie from CCRP, in her address, she mentioned something like she was happy that the symposium was going to address sleep disorder, especially during this pandemic time, to protect and preserve our health. Right? To protect and preserve our health. Then the 3 speakers came one by one. They kept on giving us so much information. Dr. Shetty had mentioned quite a few things that are the cause of sleep could be the imbalance between our work and rest. If we don't get the balance between there, that could lead to poor concentration at work, mental health issues, can also cause sleep disturbances, depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and a new one I learned was secondary traumatic stress disorder, secondary traumatic stress disorder. He mentioned the 3 and the 4 M's, which I'll never forget. He said these are systemic issues. Number 1 was monetary, that's money. That can problems with money can cause sleep disturbance. Military, the type of relations you have. Could it be a global relationship in the world, recent wars, or locally, like gun battles and gun fear and all that. And then the 3rd one was materialistic. The materials we have on the cars and the homes and red eye, and you're trying to get something that you can't reach, can cause sleep disturbance. And the last one is the missionary, the kind of religion we follow. So that's monetary, military, materialistic, and missionary. All right. And then he went on to say something about relationships and toxic relationships, which can lead to sleep disturbance, or that can cause actually sleep disturbance, and it can lead to more sleep disturbance. These are causes of sleep disturbance: the quality of life and the quality of your sleep. For example, sleep apnea, The signs of burnout: if you have burnout, it can lead to, it can cause sleep disturbance. And then finally, financial slavery, and explain what financial slavery was a new term for me, but I understood. And finally, he mentioned something like the value system of our families that can also cause sleep disturbance. Then it was followed by Dr. Pryce, who defined sleep again and mentioned the importance of sleep. You know, that if you don't sleep, well, then you can go to die early. And that between 10 and 30% of women suffer insomnia, you know, more than men. And he went into describing the 4 or 5 stages of sleep, the non-REM and the REM, and he related that nicely to some of the problems that we have and how we can tackle them eventually. He mentioned emotional dysregulation, which could lead to type 2 diabetes, hypertension, depression, your immune system, something new, depression, suicide, and aggression, especially in co-workers and workmates, whether you are at the midlife or not, school performance, irritability, negative thoughts, early death, making the wrong food choices. He mentioned poor performance, sexual poor performance, athletic poor performance, and then poor memory and Alzheimer's, amongst others. And then finally, before he ended up, he mentioned some sleep stealers, and there's a bright light, which the last speaker spoke at length on: coffee, snacks, falling asleep. I'm corporate, I want to put on the TV. I want the TV, so I think the TV puts me to sleep. And now he's saying that the TV should be put off out of the bedroom or put off 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep. I don't know if I can do that, but I will try from tonight. We have to stop, he said, we have to stop being the perfectionist that we think we are. We can, because it can lead to more sleep problems. And we have to set our sleep routines. All right, so if it's 10 o'clock, whatever is on, you have to go to bed at 10 o'clock, because if you don't, then you're going to cause problem for yourself. So that was Dr. Pryce. Quite enlightening, very smooth, very powerful. And then we ended with Dr. Susan Lowe, who was quite in-depth, but just to summarize what she had said, she spoke about the solution. How do we, there's a correction, how do you solve some of these problems so we can get good sleep? All right, spoke about the environment, ergonomics. It's why the devices that we have in our rooms, in our bedrooms, and our exercise and relaxation, that we can't exercise too near to sleeping time. We have to look for exercise, better exercise times, routines, again, relaxation, and then wellness, to get professional help if we have any of these diseases, you know, sleep disorder, depression, anxiety, thyroid problems, mental health problems, schizophrenia, chronic pain, and all that, and sleep apnea. And then finally, she looked at the medicines, remedies, and herbs that we can use to solve some of the sleep disorders that we have. And she had mentioned melatonin. She emphasized that magnesium, calcium should be used judiciously and not overuse them. So overall, it was well put across by the 3 speakers, and we got the knowledge that we craved for. And I hope those who had the continuing medical education point, the pre-test, who didn't do too well in the pre-test, will do better in the post-test so they can get their CME certification. Thank you very much, and over to you, moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. You summarized it so well, and you brought me back to some really great points in the presentation. We now head out to or ask Bolton Campbell, our treasurer, JMHS treasurer, to give the vote of thanks at this time.
Good afternoon all. For our vote of thanks, I'd like to start by saying we had a webinar overflowing with helpful information that will help us better manage our sleep and be more productive and healthy human beings. That's me. I would like to start by thanking, first of all, our founder, Dr. Bernard Wright, President, Dr. William Brown, Patron, Honorable Marigold Harding, founding member, Dr. Faye Whitburn Morrison, MAJ President, Dr. Brian James, CCRP Executive Chairman, Ms. Jean Lowe-Chin, and other members of the CCRP family. Also, thanks to our presenters, which were Dr. Ganash Shetty, Dr. Curtis Pryce, and Dr. Susan Lowe. Our moderators, Dr. Lisa Kervin-Dawes and Ms. Magdalena Cooper-Denise, thank you. Also, thanks to our sponsors, Abbott Nutrition, Indus Life Sciences, Caramed Group Limited, Medimpex Jamaica Limited, MSN Pharma, and Health 2000 Canada Inc. And their hardworking representatives, without whom this webinar would not be possible. We appreciate your support, and we hope that you will continue to support and grow with us throughout 2022 and beyond. Also, I would like to say thanks to our hardworking executive members and Mr. Samuel Heron, Old Gate Solutions Limited, for his capable management of the webinar. Also, CVM TV for airtime on their program, CVM at Sunrise, and the Jamaica Observer for publishing our ad in their newspaper. Last but not least, we'd like to thank all the attendees and those who would like to get their CME certificates. Your contribution towards the preparation of the certificates will help to keep the society going. And finally, for those who need CM certificates, please complete the post-test questions, which you have until Wednesday night, March 30th, 2022 to complete. And that's the end of our vote of thanks. And is there any final comment from our team?
Well, I had a great time, and I wouldn't want to trade this afternoon for doing anything else. I also would like to just restate, in case there's any persons who are here, if you are celebrating the Mother's Day for the UK, which is today, do enjoy your afternoon. Back to you, Dr. Lisa.
I think it was an excellent presentation. If you don't, we would like you to finish up by the March date that we gave you, but we will consider, because we can get out the CMEs in a more timely manner, but we will allow some people to come in afterwards and do it. But try to get them in early, because it does facilitate you getting the CMEs on time. But I think everybody did a great job. Thanks a lot for the audience and my co-moderator and the team. Really glad working with you. It was good working with you guys. And thanks to our audience, excellent questions, and everybody. So everybody said thank you well enough already. And thanks for having me help out.
Great job. Have a good evening, everybody. I don't know if Sam is going to give us some music to go out, but have a great evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us.
Okay, thanks to you too.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. And team, good work done. Very good. Well, a lot of our persons attended. Very good. Thank you.